Hello there. I have been involved in raising objections for several planning applications with a variety of outcomes from refusals, appeals, and some that went ahead. I am not an expert in any way, and you should always do your own research, but this pack will hopefully be of use to you in framing your arguments. Please feel free to pause the video as you go through, to read each slide. A key issue I come across is poorly thought out and poorly constructed objections. Writing to support an application is easy, but writing to oppose an application takes a large amount of time and effort. It needs to link to council policies and show how the application fails them. Organized, cogent arguments will stop you being called a NIMBY, opposing on the basis of not in my backyard. It also helps to find a group of like-minded people to build a groundswell of opinion and share the workload.
The development process can be lengthy, dependent on the complexity of the plan. A simple house extension may take a few weeks, but large-scale developments can take years, so it pays to know where you are in the process and what parts you can add your input to. There are a number of players in the planning process, and it is important to be clear about the role each fulfills. No one is there to do you any favors. You must make your own case. Developers are here to develop, take a profit and move on. Council planning teams are here to assist development that sits within the requirements of the local plan. Government requires councils to adopt a presumption in favor of development.
Social media is a powerful tool if used well. Councils may broadcast information through social media, but will not consider posts in the decision-making process. Objections must be raised formally on the council website or by writing to them. However, you can use social media to organize, communicate, and coordinate activities with other residents and importantly get the support of your local councillor. Thinking about your overall strategy, if the council approved the application, what else would you consider a win? For example, improvements to design, access, parking, lighting, or noise over the original proposal. Sometimes just a delay could affect the profitable ability to build.
A key failing is not knowing what to object to. The council has a local plan that maps out the development areas, the quantities of housing and services required, so already expects an amount of population increase and extra service provision. Some issues like highways are not in the local council control. Objections should always focus on why this development is not fit for purpose in of itself. The first port of call is the council website. They will have all the policies for your borough uploaded and all the live and historic applications in the planning portal, which is free to search.
Central government and county council laws and policies will be quoted by the developer and council. It is helpful to understand where to find these and validate any claims. If nothing else, look up the National Planning Policy Framework (NPPF) and National Design Guide 10 Principles for Development. These will be key amongst the council considerations.
Your main working area will be with the council policies. This resource is a key to understand as it will be the repository you will build your defense upon.
Council policies are top-down implementations. This means the local plan is built in accordance with national planning law. Local policies fall out of the local plan. It is important to note this order as it has been signed off in law. Some developers will try to pit the local policies against national policy, asserting national policy takes precedence. However, this is already factored into the local policies. Now you know where to look. What should I be looking for? Start with your biggest concerns and look at the policies and how your developer has addressed them. It will be easier to start by looking at policies on parking or overlooking rather than tricks data and net biodiversity gains, although you may come across these later. Are there outright errors or omissions? For each concern, check if the proposal breaches policy. Has there been any language used or images or data presented that cherry-picks or misrepresents the true situation? Does the imagery reflect what will be built? Did the questions or output from consultations or surveys show any bias? Look at facts presented and ask yourself, is this true, and how can I test it?
This is where it starts to eat up a lot of time, especially if you need to refer to government policies. Sometimes even councils misread or misinterpret government aims. It helps if you can organize a group of people to break tasks down and meet up regularly to consolidate your arguments. When you have your case together, you can raise your objection. Keep to the point, present your strongest arguments first and link everything you can to policy breaches. Include images and photos to support your argument. Put a call to arms out to neighbors and the wider borough to ask them to raise objections too. They may have less time or inclination and may put poor objections in, but collate the number of objections and plot them on a map by postcode, as this is an indication of the strength of feeling, which will be reflected in the planning recommendation.
After the public window closes, the council planning team will pull all the information together and produce a report that will in all likelihood recommend approval. The planning team will have been working with the developer to mitigate all issues and support the presumption to develop. If there has been a lot of rejections raised, it is likely to go to the Development Control Board for review. This board meets monthly and is made up of local councillors, the planning team and legal representatives. It has a chair and vice chair and will discuss outstanding applications. As with the planning documents, you should read the planning officer's report carefully and also register someone to attend and speak at the board meeting. You will be notified of the meeting and procedure before it is due. Here one person can speak in favor of and one person against the application. Each gets 3 minutes. You will be speaking directly to the councillors who will be voting on the application, so this is a perfect opportunity to present a well-crafted argument. The council will inform you if more than one person has registered to attend. You will be able to contact them to decide who will speak and agree a script of what will be said. Members of the public can attend and watch in silence too. This is highly recommended as a show of strength can help councillors support you. If you are not there, there is just the developer and planning team, both favoring approval. It is important to note that every piece of information is processed and filtered by the planning team. If they disagree with you, that information may not make it to the development board. You and your councillors have local experience and may understand better a nuance that the planning team does not. Speaking to the councillors directly can entirely change the outcome of a decision. Once a decision is reached, that may not be the end. If an application is approved, the developer has 3 years to start or the approval lapses. There will be conditions to be met. Some developers try to get out of these, leading to fresh applications for variation to an approval. If the developer loses, they may appeal. In that case, the argument is between the council who initially recommended development, but then refused it, and the developer, who may sue for costs. This will go before the planning inspectorate and the public can still make comments on just the items that failed. Here you might now support the council in their rejection of the development. Once the planning inspectorate officer reaches a decision, there is no more opportunity to appeal. If you are prepared to put the effort in, there is a real chance with cogent arguments that you may win or deliver an outcome better than the original proposal. Good luck.